Hey guys, Sundown here to give me my chapter review to One Piece 973, the Kozuki clan. Now this was a good chapter, but kind of man was Oda right when he said it would hurtle by last chapter. He said something like hurtling into the future. I was like, yo, shit, you really made good of that promise. This was quick. So I'm not too sure if I enjoyed the pacing so much. I would have preferred a little bit, flesh it out a bit. I would have, build this up like the way it should have been built up. I feel like I'm a little bit disappointed with the whole burning down of the castle thing. It just kind of seemed like a sub scene or had a small scene. I really wanted chapters and chapters dedicated to that. Not necessarily like 5, 10 chapters, just like a couple chapters building up to the burning down of this castle, being more dramatic. I feel like there's been a lack of that in this flashback, in the sense of Odin's death and now this burning down. The two major plot points I feel like could have been delivered a little bit better. But the remit of this chapter was to go through all of the history of the aftermath of Odin's death until present day, not going through some of the same stuff that we've already seen about Kawamatsu and Ashura Doji. So the first scene, which is essentially a flashback within a flashback, is we see Odin and his family back on Roger's crew coming down from Sky Pier via a balloon octopus, and Odin holds Momonosuke and Hiyori on his like in the air and on his shoulders, telling them to look around and understand that they can't find this in Wano. This is the rest of the world. You can have Wano. Wano's cool and everything, but there's the rest of the world. See, this is what we're closed off to, and this is the type of stuff that you should be trying to get back into the country. Allow, basically coming back to the idea of opening the borders. Let's not be so isolationist. There's the rest of the world to look upon. So we see him asking Momonosuke about women, training him with his sword. I love the fact that Rayleigh and Shanks and stuff like that, they're just looking at him like, yo, you realize this is a kid. Why are you talking to him about women? Why are you talking to him about slicing people with a sword as if they were fish cakes? Very different to obviously the childhood that Odin had himself. But finally, we see him telling his retainers a little bit about Zou and their warrior people, the Minks, two of which they've already encountered, both Inuarashi and Nekomamushi. And he tells them what they need. He tells them that, sorry, when they need help the most, they should seek out Zou, which translates to the current day where Kinemon and everyone were trying to get to the Minks and get to Zou to get that help. So we see Hiyori here actually playing the shamisen, a tune which she calls Moonlight Princess or something like that. Moon being a very common theme amongst the Kozuki clan, because I think part of the kanji of Kozuki means moon or something like that. But she's playing this tune called Moonlight Princess, which Odin says he once played at his funeral. She obviously doesn't like that, starts crying later on in the hot tub. But how much you want to bet that that's the exact tune we've been hearing on the shamisen so far? I say hearing on the shamisen as if I watch the anime, but I don't watch the anime. So I'm making up a Moonlight Princess in my head. But how much you want to bet whatever the tune that you guys are hearing is that tune that's being played on the shamisen by Hiyori? And the reason Hiyori wears a mask is because she's crying. I've seen that on Reddit. I've seen that in YouTube comments. People are thinking that, and I think they might be right. So then the second scene, essentially the escape of the samurai. We see Kinemon and company running away from the flower capital, looking badass as fuck with their swords, which Shinobu provides them with. She asks if she can be a vassal too. Can I be one of your crew? And he basically, Kinemon is just like, yeah, we were all pretty much uninvited. You can jump on too. No one's going to say no now. Odin's kind of dead. But essentially what that means is, can I serve the Kozuki clan, the next one in line, which would be Momonosuke. So the important thing here is that Inuarashi and Nekomamushi get into an argument whilst running, with Inu blaming Neko for providing their enemies into killing for provoking their enemies into killing Odin, and Nekomamushi saying Inuarashi cares about their enemies' feelings and that he must be the spy. In this situation, Nekomamushi is the twat. Moving on, they get caught by a number, both Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, with those kind of giant Oni-looking things that are part of Kaido's crew. We don't get to see much more on the number besides that. I think there might be two. It's the same one that just stood up with Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, and he's looking down on all the samurai. Obviously, he's huge, but I can't wait to find out more about these guys. We just see him pick up both Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, but we don't get to see anything besides that. Kinemon orders everyone to leave Nekomamushi and Inuarashi behind. A huge thing to say when you think about it. All the things that they've been through together. He obviously prioritizes the safety of Toki, Momonosuke, Hiyori, a true retainer to the Kozuki clan. You know, Kinemon had to make the difficult decision there, and he made it. However, Denjiro and Ashura Doji couldn't make that decision, and Denjiro turns around. He's like, "Yo, Ashura, help me out, bro. We gotta save both Inuarashi and Nekomamushi." So they stay behind and battle to try to save both of those two, and obviously they succeed. And I actually like this. It explains why Ashura Doji and Denjiro were actually left behind in the past. But this also means that two of their strongest warriors, Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, survived to see another day, as well as both Ashura Doji and Denjiro. We'll come back to Denjiro. But it doesn't explain why Kawamatsu is left in the past and why Hiyori was left in the past, where we have Raizo, Kanjuro, Kinemon, Momonosuke, 4 of them were pushed 20 years into the future. Unless, of course, Toki couldn't possibly move more than those 4 people into the future, which explains a bit more. But we didn't get a reasoning behind that. I'll come back to that as well. Probably just gloss over it like I just did. But we then go to Kuri, where the castle has been surrounded by Kaido's forces. We see King, and surprisingly, even Kaido actually already there. He obviously flown by in his dragon form, then he flew back out. But Kaido has a hold of Momonosuke, holding him off the edge of the castle by the throat, threatening to drop the kid. However, much like those soft pirates that he was talking shit about earlier, both the Roger and the Whitebeards of the world, he doesn't seem to be able to stomach the idea of killing a child. It's either that or it's arrogance. So he identifies who Momonosuke is and throws him on the floor of the room behind them. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna throw this kid off. I'm not gonna let go of him and just watch him die." So instead of yeeting him into the distance and watching him go splat, he doesn't do that. He throws him back into the room, and he's just like, "Aight." And his reasoning is he didn't realize the boy was so young, probably happy and confident in the idea that the fires that are engulfing the castle would swallow him up. It also helps that he was less than impressed by the boy, by Momonosuke, but this has already become something which will bite him in the ass, considering where we are in the current storyline, or because he was too soft. How ironic, right? Or once again, like I said, it's a possibility that he's just arrogant, and he saw the boy and he's like, what's this kid gonna do? I don't need to kill him right now. Just throw him in there, let him cook, deep fry, and we're good. And we then trundle through a couple things. So Kinemon, Raizo, Kanjuro are sent with Momonosuke into the future. For some reason, like I said before, still not explained, Hiyori is given to Kawamatsu to stay in this current timeline, escaping the castle via the castle waterways. I feel like that should have been explained, unless I missed something. I don't think I did, because I read it twice, which is apparently enough. Anyway, while this is happening, once that has happened, Toki then escapes through the castle gates on horseback, with arrows having been shot into her back as she rode towards the town. And she thinks about a conversation she had with Oden, might have been a while back, where he asks whether she jumped into the future to see the day when the world would overturn. So 20 years into the future, to see when this Joy Boy reincarnation or whatever it is has come to, turn the world on its head. And she scolds him while telling him that not really telling him, she scolds him while telling herself and telling us really that she jumped forward in time to escape from the perils of 800 years ago, hoping to meet someone she could rely on. She found Oden and she stayed there. And we then have her standing at the foot of the burning castle, proclaiming the prophecy about the 9 red scabbards and their return in 20 years. She's silhouetted against, it's such an awesome and iconic, I think, kind of panel we get here. She's silhouetted against the brilliant flames of the castle behind her, 2 arrows poking out of her back, only to be shot as she finishes delivering this prophecy. She's like, something brilliant dawn. I've forgotten exactly what she says. Let's see. She says, and you shall know the brilliance of the dawn once those 9 shadows that are woven across 20 years, once they come back. So I thought that was awesome. This was a better death for me than Oden's, just because it was handled in a more serious manner. Though I failed to see why she didn't try to escape, and I don't know, look after her daughter who's still there. I mean, like, maybe now that Oden has died, her reason for being in this future has vanished. She came to the future to find someone she could rely on. Now that he's gone, she felt like she could just vanish with him. But she still had a responsibility in Hiyori, and seems to have forsaken it for some reason or other. Maybe there was genuinely no way for her to escape. We see that Kawamatsu escapes underwater. We see that Kanjuro, Kinemon, Raizo, and Momonosuke, they escape through the future. Ashura Doji and Denjiro are fighting. Shinobu just vanishes somewhere. Actually, where the fuck does Shinobu even go? Shinobu would have been a decent way to get what's her name, Toki out. But rather than Kawamatsu's strong enough to have taken both Hiyori and Toki through the waterways, he didn't need to just take one. So I can't understand why, for some reason, death was a better option to Toki than any of the other options. Even going into the future could have been an option for her, seeing as she's done it before. I don't understand. Anyway, the next scene, which is basically the survivors. We see Ashura Doji somewhere in the hills. Fucking superstars, feeling like... No, we see him somewhere in the hills already questioning whether Kin and the rest will actually return. We see Kawamatsu trying to take care of Hiyori. And we see Denjiro. He's the main guy. We see Denjiro in some sort of shrine, consumed by rage, to the point that his face changes bone structure. This is how insane his rage was. His eyes, which were always kind of behind behind shades anyway, somehow they've become more slanted through his anger. His bone structure and his face has changed. His hair turns white and he's gotten more stubble. Obviously he hasn't shaved, and he looks like a fucking badass. Mind you, this all seemed to happen over the course of a winter, so a few months maybe at the least. And this crazed Denjiro goes back to the capital, kicks the shit out of a couple local mobsters, and eventually earns himself a name. This brings him into the employ of Orochi as the new face of the mob of the Yakuza, Kyoshiro the Mad, or Napping Kyoshiro as the citizens know him by, in honor of his constant sleepiness. Why is he always sleepy? So, damn, okay. When we see Denjiro, there's a couple points here. So we'll get back to the Napping Denjiro thing, Napping Kyoshiro thing. When we see Denjiro first leave that shrine that he was in over the winter, we see someone with him that looks exactly like the Denjiro we know, so and not the white-haired Kyoshiro. So I was like, was this just to show the change he'd gone through, or was that someone else? It can't be Koshiro, so I don't understand why we saw Denjiro next to Kyoshiro. And like, if he was phased out a little bit, like a ghost image, then I'd understand that, this is the change that he's gone through. But it's a solid image and it's a solid Kyoshiro, so I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? I didn't really understand what that panel was trying to convey. Maybe you guys can help me out there. But I wasn't surprised actually that Kyoshiro was Denjiro. It's something that I've considered for a long while now. If you go back through my reviews, whenever we do see Kyoshiro, I'm always questioning him. Who is he? What's his relationship with Komurasaki or Hiyori? They can't be enemies, or he must have some sort of ulterior motive with her, seeing as he doesn't kill her. So I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that a few times. What I was surprised by was that Kyoshiro Denjiro was also and is also the witching hour boy, which is why he's always so sleepy, spending his nights stealing the royal wealth and distributing it to the people. He had a young Hiyori pop up on his doorstep now. Well, in this timeline, still leading up to the present day. A young Hiyori pops up on his doorstep. He tells her who he really is, bowing his head to her, and he swears to protect her in Kawamatsu's stead. And he has her assume the guise of Komurasaki, protecting her from everyone while in plain sight, much like himself. He's in plain sight. And, when Hiyori survived Kyoshiro's slash, we knew he had something to do with her. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned he might have helped raise her as one of Odin's vassals many, many chapters ago. So that's the end of the chapter. I liked it, like I said. It was more serious, but it did really, really rocket straight through. It trundled straight through all of this information. And at the end of the chapter, what we got was Toki looks to actually be dead. Denjiro is Kyoshiro and the Witching Hour Boy, but who is the traitor? Was there a mention of the Witching Hour Boy having been captured or something like that? I don't know, I can't remember. But who is the traitor? Kaido was soft, which will eventually lead to his demise. Kind of ironic. Or he was arrogant. And the boys went to party 20 years in the future, and they met Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates. So that's pretty much the end of the chapter. This has been a longer review than I thought it'd be, so let me know what you guys thought of it. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter, this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will see you guys in a bit.